Alright, a very warm welcome back everyone. Today I want to analyze a beat of mine and we are going to keep this in the mixing phase. So meaning that you can see the whole arrangement and not only the stereo sound which you only would see in mastering, and therefore the mastering session would be a little bit boring because you cannot really see how all of these things work together. So we are going to look at the mix session here, and also we are going to talk about the whole procedure in the lower zone. So I'm opening the mixing console here, and then we are going to talk about the whole arrangement, how I did all of this, why I chose which effects, and actually you can see that there is not that much happening here. So we should be done quite fast in this one. So let me just play back the signal here, or the arrangement, and then we'll talk about some of the most distinctive things here. Okay, let me stop here for a second, and we're going over these three parts here. So first thing, we have drums, of course, but these drums are chopped off and they are not playing completely as at the start, but only the kick and the snare are playing, or kick and the rim shot. Yeah, and then afterwards we introduce the hi-hat here. Also for the hi-hat, you see that we have automation going on, so the hi-hat is not starting right at the bar, but this is blended in over these 4 bars, and then afterwards the hi-hat is completely there. For the other thing here, we have, of course, we have the loop, yeah, the snare loop in this case, but also you hear that there is kick going on, right? And to enhance this kick a little bit, I implemented another one here, which is then also blended in the arrangement, in this case linearly. And also we have hi-hats going on here, because only having these wasn't enough for me, so I played some more of those. And afterwards, after all of this is finished, bar 25, we get basically in the chorus. Chorus means that apart from the Rhodes that we have playing here and the granulizer of this Rhode track is activated. Apart from this, we also start by playing the bass, right? And the bass is just playing bass notes in this case, so the root notes of the chords. And we have 2 basses here. So the first, which would be, if I'm opening the frequency analyzer here, which would just be for the low end, the deep low end, and then you have the high frequency bass, which is for the higher part of the bass, so that we can actually hear this on multiple different platforms similarly good, right? So what you see here is that the granulizer is playing, and also what you hear is that we have actually the Rhodes starting to play, and you hear that they come from very far away. Actually, I can show you this, how I work this out. This is not done by any effects. So if you look here, we don't have effects apart from the granulizer and the compressor. The granulizer is automated, but the compressor is just to remove some of these peaks. But the real reverb tail is mixed within the instrument itself. You can see that we have some very high reverb mix here, which makes the Rhodes come into the background more than in the foreground, right? So then we have the bass. And the bass I mentioned already. If you play this back now, even further. We are then getting to the point where ambience starts, and this ambience is of course only for the background, so you do not have to put this very loud in the mix. And as you can see, if I'm just activating these tracks, you see that they are mixed very quietly, in this case -12 decibels, which is almost fourth of the actual loudness of this loop. And of course you have the Rhodes playing and everything. I think I just keep playing this arrangement now. Also, as we are in some sort of chorus, we have claps going on here. So just to give more accents in this sense, and also some crashes at some very distinctive points where we change from chorus back to verse or vice versa. So now it would be a time to make something different than before, and in this case I just opted for leaving the drums out for this one bar, with everything else still playing, and therefore we have the impression that something's gonna change, and actually there is a change to be made, which you cannot really hear that much of right now, but this is actually preparing for fading the whole stuff out. Now we do the same thing again with stopping for a bar, but in this case we added some toms just to have a different perspective on the whole thing, because just removing this one bar would not set enough of an accent for my taste. And what is very prominent for these toms is that we do not have any inserts, but what we have is much reverb and delay going on. So you see that they are mixed quite heavily in this case, and maybe let's just solo the toms with the effects first, and then I'm going to move those. And if I'm now only listening to the toms, which means that we do not have the effects going on, you hear that we that without any of these effects the toms sound very dry, and only when adding these effects on top of this we get the really lush character of the toms being very far away, and you hear all of this reverb tail. This blends very well with these Rhodes here, which are stopping in bar 72. So which essentially you get the impression that you have the Rhodes very far away, and then you have some toms very far away which are playing when the Rhodes stopped. So essentially the whole thing gets very far away. So unsolo this. I don't like these clicks right now, but it's fine. Might be the grungealizer. Yeah, well, and at bar 89, just imagine that you are fading out, and at bar 97 we are then, in this case we have a full stop, but in the mastering session you would then fade this out over these, I guess that's 8 bars, and then you would be quiet or almost at minus infinity decibels at bar 97 already. So this would not seem like a complete halt, but just fade it out, right? Also what you see is that we have 3 bars here longer than the actual arrangement, and we have 2 bars longer than the actual start of this arrangement, just so I can have I can utilize this space in the mastering session whenever I need this. So let's go over some of the effects that have been added here. We talked about the toms already. We talked about the bass already, but we didn't talk about the inserts. So what I did here is basically you have this very low bass, which if you add saturation or distortion or anything of this, which this might get in the way of all of these other frequencies that you are talking about, right? So what I did here is add no effects at all, but for the high frequencies I added some tube saturation and also a tube compressor, which is lowering the volume quite massively, and then we have the saturation only applied on the high frequency bass, but not on these very low frequencies. However, this gives you the option to have the high frequency bass peeking through a little bit more, and thereby adjusting basically the balance of the low frequency bass and the high frequency bass just by adding those effects. For the ambience, nothing happens because this is just ambience. This is just for background basically. And we also talked about the roads already, which is only compressed and sent to nothing, but in this case we talked about reverb already. For the drums, we have a delay and a reverb channel, which is utilized for toms and crash especially, but for heads and claps you only have the reverb, which makes it seem that these heads and claps are just a little bit positioned in the space as well, not such that they are not that you not think that they are completely in your face just because they are in front of you, right? And for the other effects, there is not much to talk about. The only thing that added effects, in this case the reverb, was for the Rhodes, and everything else has been done for the drums here. And I think this concludes this arrangement. You can see that we do not have to do much in order to get a good sounding arrangement. This is basically due to the fact that we use samples that have already very high quality, and if you have a very high quality sample, you do not need to do anything else to make this sound good, because of course you usually choose the samples that fit very well with your arrangement, and you do not want to change the sound completely of this, right? And this is what I did here. And we'll probably talk about other songs in the near future, so stay tuned for that, and I'm going to see you in the next one.